My parents gave my $1.5 million dream home to my brother 2 days before closing. They did it with smiles, with soft voices, with the kind of fake family warmth people use when they are hoping your shock will be mistaken for understanding. My mother stood in the middle of the empty living room, running her hand over the white marble island like she had paid for it herself. My father stood beside the fireplace, looking anywhere but at me. My brother, Marcus, leaned against the staircase with his arms folded, already wearing the smug expression of a man who believed my silence meant defeat. And his wife, Tasha, was upstairs, in my future bedroom, measuring the windows for curtains. That was how I found out. Not through a call, not through a text, not through some honest conversation around the dining table. I found out because I drove to the house for my final walkthrough and saw my brother's SUV parked in the driveway, my mother's car by the curb, and Tasha's voice floating from upstairs, saying, "This closet is finally big enough for both of us." Finally. As if my dream home had been waiting all its life to solve her storage problem. My name is Naomi Brooks. I was 37 years old that day. I had spent 10 years saving for that house. 10 years of double shifts. 10 years of consulting after work. 10 years of saying no to vacations. No to new cars, no to expensive clothes, no to every small pleasure that other people called normal. I was not born rich. I was not handed anything. I built my money slowly, painfully, stubbornly, one invoice and one sleepless night at a time. The house was not just a house to me. It was proof. Proof that a daughter who was always told to wait could still arrive. Proof that a woman with no husband, no children, and no family applause could still build something beautiful. Proof that all the nights I cried quietly over spreadsheets, mortgage calculators, inspection reports, and impossible closing costs had meant something. It sat on a hill in a quiet coastal neighborhood with tall windows, a wide kitchen, 4 bedrooms, a library, a backyard pool, and a balcony where you could see the ocean if the morning was clear. I had already imagined everything. Coffee in the kitchen before sunrise. A reading chair by the library window. Lemon trees near the fence. A guest room for friends who respected invitations. A home office where I would not have to work from the corner of my rented apartment anymore. A front door nobody could open unless I allowed it. Peace. That was what I was buying. Not luxury. Peace. And my family had walked into it and decided peace was too big for me. My mother turned when she saw me standing at the entrance. Her face changed for half a second. Not guilt, annoyance, like I had arrived early to my own betrayal. "Oh, Naomi," she said. "You're here." I looked at her. "Why are all of you here?" Marcus smiled. "We needed to look at the place properly." "The place?" He looked around. "The house." My house. Tasha came down the stairs then, holding her phone and a tape measure. She was wearing heels on floors I had not even officially owned yet. "Oh," she said, stopping when she saw me. "Hi, Naomi." "Hi, Naomi." Like she had bumped into me at a grocery store. Like she had not just been measuring my future bedroom. I turned back to my parents. "What is happening?" My father cleared his throat. "Naomi, let's talk calmly." My heart dropped. That sentence had raised me. Let's talk calmly. It always meant someone had already done something wrong and wanted my reaction to become the main problem. My mother stepped closer. "Baby, we know you love this house." I stared at her. "I am closing in 2 days." "Yes," she said quickly. "And that is why we needed to speak before then." "Speak about what?" She looked at Marcus. Marcus looked at Tasha. Tasha smiled carefully. My father finally spoke. "Your mother and I believe this home would be better suited for Marcus and his family." For a moment, the room had no air. Better suited. That was the phrase they chose. Not stealing. Not hijacking. Not betrayal. Better suited. I looked at the staircase, at the kitchen, at the windows, at the empty space where I had imagined my life beginning again. Then I looked at my father. "Say that again." He swallowed. "Naomi." "No." "Say it again. Clearly." My mother sighed. Marcus has a wife and children. They need the space. The schools here are excellent. His business is growing. This would give them stability. I looked at Marcus. You want my house? He lifted his hands. Don't make it sound like that. How should I make it sound? Like family helping family. I laughed once. It sounded strange in the empty room. Family helping family? I paid the earnest money. I paid the inspection. I paid for the appraisal. I secured the mortgage. My name is on the contract. Tasha stepped forward. Naomi, we understand you did the process, and nobody is dismissing that. The process? Yes. But sometimes God uses one person to open a door for the whole family. I turned to her slowly. Tasha, if you say God opened my door so you could walk through it, I promise this conversation will get worse. Her mouth closed. My mother gasped. Naomi? No, Mom. Do not Naomi me inside the house I worked for while your daughter-in-law is measuring my bedroom. Marcus's face hardened. You don't need all this. There it was. The real argument. Need. In my family, my brother's wants were needs, and my needs were luxuries. I looked at him. Because I don't have children? He shrugged. I didn't say that. You never have to. Everyone else says it for you. My mother's voice softened. Baby, we are not trying to hurt you. But you are still doing it. You can find another house. Can I? Yes. You are successful. You always land on your feet. I hated that sentence. People use your strength as permission to drop you from higher places. I walked toward the kitchen island and placed my bag on it. Let me understand. You want me to hand over the purchase to Marcus 2 days before closing? My father shifted uncomfortably. There may be a way to adjust the buyer designation before the final signing. The room went quiet. My eyes moved to him. Adjust the buyer designation? His face tightened. He had said too much. Marcus looked irritated. Tasha looked away. My mother touched her necklace. I asked, "Who told you that?" My father said nothing. Dad. He rubbed his forehead. Marcus spoke with someone. I turned to my brother. Someone where? Marcus rolled his eyes. You always make everything sound criminal. Because you are discussing changing my closing documents without me. Tasha said, nobody changed anything yet. Yet. That little word entered the room like a confession wearing lipstick. I looked at her. Thank you for that. Her eyes widened. My mother stepped between us slightly. Naomi, listen. Your brother was not going to take anything from you. We were going to make sure you were reimbursed for what you already spent. I stared at her. Reimbursed? Yes. The inspection, the appraisal, the deposit, all of it. With what money? My father looked down again. Marcus smiled. The mortgage would be in my name after the transfer. Once we settle in, we would pay you back properly. Once you settle in. Yes. You have not paid me back for the $20,000 I gave you 2 years ago. That was different. You said that when I gave it to you. He looked annoyed. I had a business setback. You always have a business setback. Your whole life is a setback with branding. His face darkened. Tasha stepped forward. Naomi, that is disrespectful. No, Tasha. Disrespectful is trying to move into another woman's dream home before she owns the keys. My mother began crying. Of course. My mother's tears were the family fire alarm. Once they started, everyone was expected to stop addressing the actual flame and comfort the alarm. Naomi, she whispered, how can you speak to us like strangers? I looked at her. Strangers would have waited until I closed before trying to scam me. My father's voice rose. Enough. That old voice. The one that used to freeze me as a girl. Not today. I turned to him. No, it has not been enough for years. The silence shifted. I could feel it. They were used to my sadness. My disappointment. My withdrawal. They were not used to my refusal. I opened my bag and took out my phone. Marcus frowned. What are you doing? Calling my lender. My mother's crying stopped. Why? I looked at her. Because I want to know whether my closing file has been accessed or changed. My father stepped forward. Naomi, don't be rash. Rash was planning a deed adjustment behind my back. Marcus reached for the phone. I stepped away. Touch me, and I will call the police. His face changed. For the first time, fear entered the room. Not enough, but a beginning. I called my loan officer, Denise Carter. She answered cheerfully. Naomi, are you excited for closing? I kept my eyes on my family. Denise, I need to ask something. Has anyone contacted you, the title company, or the closing attorney, about changing the buyer or loan structure for my house? There was a pause. Then her voice changed. Where are you right now? At the property. Are you alone? No. Another pause. Naomi, do not sign anything. Do not authorize anything verbally. I am going to call the closing attorney and compliance officer right now. I will call you back in 10 minutes. My stomach dropped. So something had happened. My mother whispered. What did she say? I ended the call. Then I looked at each of them. She said not to sign anything. Marcus scoffed, but his face had lost color. You're being dramatic. No, Marcus. I think I'm being accurate. Tasha whispered to him. Did Brian actually call them? Brian. There it was. A name. I looked at Tasha. Who is Brian? She shut her mouth. Marcus glared at her. My father closed his eyes. My mother whispered, Lord help us. I laughed. Too late to invite him now. 10 minutes later, Denise called back. This time, her voice was hard. Naomi, there was an unauthorized inquiry from a third-party contact asking whether buyer substitution was possible before closing. They claimed to be assisting your family office. My family office. I almost smiled. I did not have a family office. I had a checking account, a savings account, and a mother who still asked me to bring paper towels when I visited. Denise continued. The title company has frozen any non-buyer communication. Your closing is still valid, but given the attempted interference, we need to discuss safeguards immediately. I looked around the room. At Marcus. At Tasha. At my parents. At the house. My dream did not feel peaceful anymore. It felt contaminated. Not by the walls, by the hands trying to steal them. Denise asked, Do you want to proceed with closing? Everyone watched me. For a second, I imagined fighting through it. Closing anyway, changing the locks, standing in the empty living room and proving them wrong. Then another thought came. Cold. Clear. Powerful. I was the buyer. The loan had not funded. The mortgage was not final. The closing had not happened. They were all standing inside a house they thought they could pressure me into handing over. But the one thing they had forgotten was simple. Until closing, I could still walk away. I could pull the plug. I could cancel the money. I could stop the mortgage before it ever became a door for Marcus. I held the phone tighter. Denise, I said, cancel the closing. My mother gasped. Marcus stared. Tasha's mouth fell open. My father said, Naomi, wait. I did not. Cancel the mortgage process. Withdraw my approval. Freeze the file. I want everything stopped today. Denise was quiet for 1 second, then said, Understood. Marcus rushed forward. You can't do that. I looked at him. It was my mortgage. Tasha's face twisted. But we already gave notice on our rental. My mother turned to her. What? Tasha froze. Marcus closed his eyes. There was the next lie. They had already planned to move. Before asking me. Before closing. Before owning anything. My father stared at Marcus. You gave notice? Marcus snapped. We thought it was handled. The room exploded. My mother cried. My father demanded explanations. Tasha shouted that she was tired of living in a cramped place. Marcus said he had done what he had to do. I stood in the middle of the living room and watched them finally turn on each other. It should have felt satisfying. It did not. It felt sad. Because betrayal is not less painful when fools betray you badly. I picked up my bag. My mother grabbed my wrist. Naomi, please. We can fix this. I looked down at her hand. until she released me. "No, Mom. I just did." I walked to the door. Marcus shouted behind me, "You ruined everything." I turned once. "No. I canceled what never belonged to you." Then I left the dream home I had wanted for 10 years. And for the first time in my life, losing something felt like saving myself. Before I continue, tell me where you are watching from tonight. And if you have ever had to destroy your own plan just to stop someone else from stealing it, stay with this story. Because sometimes the bravest thing you can do is cancel the door before the wrong people move in. I cried in my car outside that house until the windows fogged. Not because I regretted canceling, because I had loved the house. That is something people might not understand. Just because walking away is right does not mean it does not hurt. I had imagined my life there. The yellow reading chair, the lemon trees, the balcony, the quiet, the first Christmas, the first morning, the first night sleeping under a roof that did not come with my family's opinions attached. I had planned everything. Then my family turned my dream into a battlefield, and I had to burn the bridge while I was still standing on it. The next call came from my closing attorney, Vivian Hart. Denise had already briefed her. Vivian did not waste time. "Naomi, I need every message, email, voicemail, and family communication about the property. Do not speak to them by phone. Text only. If they call, let it go to voicemail. Can I still get my earnest money back? We will try. The unauthorized interference gives us strong ground to negotiate release, but I need you prepared that some costs may be lost." I swallowed. "How much?" "Inspection, appraisal, some legal fees, possibly more if the seller fights." I closed my eyes. Thousands gone, maybe tens of thousands, because my family could not respect one boundary. Vivian's voice softened. "Naomi, listen to me. Losing money hurts. Losing control of a $1.5 million mortgage to people who already tried to manipulate the file hurts more." "I know." "Good. Then cry today, fight tomorrow." That became my plan. Cry today, fight tomorrow. I drove back to my rented apartment, parked, and sat there a long time before going inside. My apartment was small, too small for the life I had wanted next. Boxes lined the wall because I had already started packing. Kitchen items wrapped in newspaper, books labeled, clothes sorted. A framed photo of the dream home sat on the counter. I took it down. Not angrily, carefully, like removing a bandage. Then I opened my laptop. Emails were already coming in. Denise confirmed the mortgage withdrawal. Vivian requested documents. Mrs. Daniels, my realtor, sent a shocked message asking what happened. My mother sent, "Naomi, please answer. We did not mean for this to happen." Marcus sent, "You're selfish. You would rather destroy the house than see my kids happy." Tasha sent, "I hope you can sleep knowing you made children homeless." That one made me laugh. Children homeless. They had given notice on a rental they still had time to renew. I sent Tasha one response. "Your children have parents. Start there." Then I blocked her. Marcus kept texting. "We had plans. You always do this. You hate seeing me win. Mom and Dad said you would come around." That one I saved. Then forwarded to Vivian. She replied, "Useful. Keep preserving. Lawyers love when idiots confess through anger." The next morning, the seller's agent called my realtor furious. They wanted to keep my earnest money. They said my cancellation was unreasonable and damaging. Vivian responded with a formal letter detailing attempted third-party interference, unauthorized buyer substitution inquiry, and possible title fraud concerns that made proceeding unsafe. The tone was elegant. The message was not. By the end of the week, the seller agreed to release most of my earnest money rather than become part of a legal mess. I still lost inspection fees, appraisal fees, application fees, and time. A lot of time. But the mortgage was dead. And Marcus could not inherit a closing that no longer existed. My parents came to my apartment 3 days later. Uninvited. I saw them through the peephole. My mother held a bag of food. My father looked tired. I did not open the door. I spoke through it. What do you want? My mother's voice shook. Naomi, please, open the door. No, we need to talk face to face. No, you need to learn that doors open by permission. My father sighed. That is unnecessary. No, Dad. What was unnecessary was trying to move Marcus into my house before closing. My mother cried softly. Baby, we were wrong. I leaned my forehead against the door. That sentence hurt, because I wanted it. I wanted those words. But I also knew they had arrived after consequences, not conscience. For what specifically? I asked. Silence. My father said, Naomi. No. If you do not know what you are apologizing for, you are only asking me to make things comfortable again. My mother cried harder. We wanted Marcus to have the house. Why? Because he has children. And I have what? No answer. I waited. My father's voice came low. A life. I closed my eyes. Yes, he continued. We acted like yours weighed less. That sentence went through me. I had waited 37 years for someone in my family to say it. My mother whispered, I am sorry for that. My hand moved toward the lock, then stopped. Not yet. I hear you, I said through the door, but I am not opening. They stayed in the hallway for a few minutes, then left the food bag by the door. I waited until the elevator closed before bringing it inside. I cried while eating my mother's rice. Healing is not clean. Sometimes you are angry and hungry at the same time. The fallout was worse than they expected. Marcus and Tasha had indeed given notice on their rental. Their landlord had already found a new tenant. They had 30 days to move and nowhere affordable in the school district they wanted. My mother wanted me to feel guilty. I did. But guilt is not always instruction. Sometimes guilt is just your nervous system missing the old job of rescuing everyone. Marcus called from another number. I answered by mistake. You need to fix this, he said. I almost hung up. Then I thought, no, let him hear me clearly once. I do not need to fix anything. You canceled the house. I canceled my mortgage. You knew we were depending on it. No, Marcus. I learned you were depending on it after I caught you. He shouted, My kids! Your kids have 2 parents, grandparents who support you, and a father who apparently thought he could steal a closing. They will survive an apartment search. You're heartless. No, I am unavailable. He went quiet. That word confused him. Unavailable. I had never been that before. He said, Mom and Dad promised us. Then ask them for a house. He hung up. Over the next month, my family became a theater of panic. My parents tried to help Marcus find another place. Tasha cried to relatives. Marcus blamed me publicly. Aunties called to ask why I could not just let them have the house and buy another. One cousin said, You don't even have a family to fill a place that big. I replied, and now nobody does. The group chat went silent. I left it anyway. Meanwhile, something unexpected happened. The dream home came back on the market 2 weeks after my cancellation. Then sat. The seller had been spooked by the drama. Buyers got nervous. Interest rates shifted. A minor inspection issue became a talking point. The price dropped, then dropped again. Mrs. Daniels called me after 6 weeks. Naomi, I know this may be painful, but the seller wants to know if you would reconsider at a lower price. My heart twisted. How much lower? She told me. It was still expensive, still beautiful, still possible. But I surprised myself. No, Mrs. Daniels paused. No, Mrs. Daniels paused. No? No? Are you sure? I looked around my apartment. At the boxes I had unpacked again. At the blank wall where the house photo used to be. At the quiet I had started protecting. I loved that house, I said, but I do not want the version of me who had to fight my family inside it. She understood. Good realtors know houses are emotional weather. I did not buy that one. Instead, I did something different. I bought a smaller house 6 months later. Not 1.5 million. Not coastal hill luxury. Not the kind of house that would make Tasha measure closets with envy. It was a 4-bedroom brick home in a quiet neighborhood with old trees, a wide porch, a garden that needed work, and a detached studio in the back. It cost less than half the dream home. The mortgage was comfortable. The closing was private. No parents, no Marcus, no Tasha, no family walkthrough. Just me, Mrs. Daniels, Vivian, and Denise from the bank, who came because she said after everything we had been through, she needed to see me hold keys. When I signed, my hand did not shake. When I received the keys, I cried. Not the broken kind, the relieved kind. The first night, I slept on a mattress on the floor and listened to the house settle. No ocean view, no marble island, no balcony, but the front door locked, and only I had the code. That mattered more than a pool. I turned the detached studio into an office for my consulting work. I had been building a project management advisory business on the side, helping women-led small companies handle expansion, contractor issues, budgeting, and operations. After the failed closing, I worked harder. Not to prove my family wrong. At least, not only that. I worked because I had seen how quickly people could threaten your peace if your money was stretched too thin. I wanted margin. I wanted safety. I wanted options. My business grew. Slowly at first, then fast. A bakery expansion, a daycare renovation, a clinic build-out, a women-owned construction startup, a boutique hotel project. People started calling me when dreams needed structure. I understood that. Dreams without structure attract thieves, even in families. 1 year after I canceled the mortgage, Marcus asked to meet. I ignored the first message. Then he sent another. I want to apologize, not ask for money, just apologize. I sent it to Vivian out of habit. She replied, "Your choice, public place, drive yourself." So I met him at a cafe. He looked different, not destroyed, just humbled enough to sit without leaning back. Tasha was not with him. Good. He stared at his coffee for a long time. I was wrong, he said. I waited. He looked up. For trying to take the house. I said, "Be more specific." He sighed. For letting Mom and Dad believe I needed it more. For talking to Brian about the closing. For planning around a house that was not mine. For letting Tasha measure rooms. For saying you ruined everything when everything was built on taking from you. The apology was better than I expected. Still late, but better. What happened to Brian, I asked. He winced. Lost his job. Good. Marcus looked down. I know. Do you? Yes. He should never have touched the file. And you should never have asked. I know. The waitress placed our drinks down. Neither of us touched them. Marcus said, "We moved into a smaller place, not the school district we wanted. Kids adjusted. Children often survive what adults use them to excuse." He nodded slowly. That's fair. I studied him. What changed? He swallowed. Dad. That surprised me. Dad? He sat me down after you refused to open your apartment door. He said we had turned your life into spare space. He said he helped me become weak by calling it need. My throat tightened. That sounded like my father. Late, but real, Marcus continued. I hated you for canceling. Then I hated myself when I realized I had been depending on a mortgage you would carry. I was not even thinking about what happened if I missed payments. I just thought, you always find a way. There it was. The family curse. Naomi always finds a way. So you thought I would find a way to survive losing my own house? His eyes filled. Yes. The honest answer hurt more than a lie. I am sorry, he said. I hear you. He looked hopeful. I shook my head gently. I am not inviting you to my house. His face fell. Okay. Not for a long time. I understand. Maybe he did. Maybe not. But he did not argue. That was new. My parents changed slowly. My mother apologized many times. Not always well. Sometimes she slipped into defense. Sometimes she cried because she wanted comfort more than accountability. But she started naming things correctly. We tried to take your house, not help your brother. Not make things work. Take. My father became quieter but more honest. He came to my new house 3 months after I moved in, by invitation only. He knocked at the door, even though it was open. That small act healed more than he knew. He walked through the house slowly. "This is peaceful," he said. "Yes." He looked at the studio in the back. "And this is where you work?" "Yes." He nodded. "No one should have tried to put Marcus inside your dream." I swallowed. "No. I am sorry I did. I believed him. Enough. My mother brought a plant for the porch. A lemon tree in a pot." I laughed when I saw it. "What?" she asked. "I wanted lemon trees at the other house." Her eyes filled. "I know. You knew?" "I remember things. I just acted like Marcus's needs were louder." That sentence sat between us. Then I took the tree. It grows in my backyard now. Strong, stubborn, a little crooked, like me. 2 years after the canceled closing, the old dream home sold. Not to Marcus, not to me, to a retired couple from out of state. I thought I would feel grief when I heard. Instead, I felt light. The house had been a dream, but not every dream is meant to survive the people who touch it. Sometimes losing one dream protects the life you are actually supposed to build. My smaller brick house became more than enough. The porch hosted dinners. The garden grew. The studio became the headquarters of my business. The spare bedrooms welcomed friends, not entitled relatives. The kitchen filled with music. The walls held art I chose. The mortgage was mine, affordable, safe, uncontaminated. That became my favorite word. Safe. A safe mortgage. A safe door. A safe life. A safe number. A year later, I hosted Thanksgiving. Yes, at my house. Not because the family deserved automatic access, because I chose it. Marcus came with Tasha and the children. He stood at the door holding pies like an offering. Tasha looked nervous. Good. Nervous people ask before measuring. The children ran to hug me. They had never been the enemy. During dinner, my father gave a short prayer. He thanked God for shelter, humility, second chances, and doors that teach people respect. My mother cried. Marcus looked down. Tasha wiped her eyes. I stared at my plate and tried not to cry into the mashed potatoes. After dinner, Tasha found me in the kitchen. She held a dish towel. "I owe you an apology too." I nodded. She took a breath. "I wanted that house, badly. I wanted the address, the closet, the photos, the feeling that we had finally made it. I told myself because we had children, it was more right for us. But the truth is, I was jealous of you. You built something without needing Marcus, and I wanted what that looked like. I appreciated the honesty. I know. I should never have measured your rooms." "No, you shouldn't have. I'm sorry. I hear you." She smiled weakly. "Can I help wash dishes?" "Yes." "Are these dishes safe to touch?" I laughed. That helped. Healing came in moments like that. Not perfect, not instant, but possible. My business continued to grow. I eventually hired 2 project coordinators and 1 financial analyst. We helped clients avoid bad contractors, budget traps, family interference, and expansion mistakes. I started a small workshop called Close Clean, teaching first-time women buyers how to protect themselves before closing. We covered everything: loan documents, title communication, unauthorized access, family pressure, earnest money, inspection rights, mortgage withdrawal, closing fraud warning signs, emotional manipulation. One woman raised her hand during the first workshop and asked, "What if it's your parents pressuring you?" I looked at her. "Then you need better records, not less courage." She cried. I knew that cry. Afterward, she told me her older brother wanted to share the house she was buying because their parents believed he needed it more. I gave her Vivian's card. Some stories repeat until someone teaches the next woman where to stand. My parents attended one workshop quietly from the back. I did not invite them. My mother asked. I allowed it. When I told the part about canceling my mortgage before closing, I did not say their names. Everyone still knew. My mother cried silently. My father held her hand. Afterward, he said, "That story is hard to hear." I said, "It was hard to live." He nodded. "You tell it well. I tell it accurately." That mattered more. Marcus never asked to borrow money again. Not from me. Not directly. He found a steady operations job with a regional supplier. Not glamorous, not founder energy, but honest. Tasha started managing their budget like a woman who had survived wanting too much too fast. Their children grew. They came to my house often, but always with invitation. My niece once asked, "Aunt Naomi, why do we knock if we're family?" I smiled. "Because family should respect doors too." She nodded like I had given her a law of nature. Good. Let her grow up knowing that. People sometimes ask whether I regret canceling the dream home. I regret that I had to. 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 But I do not regret canceling, because that mortgage would have tied me to a betrayal bigger than the purchase price. $1.5 million is not only a number, it is 30 years of payments, interest, taxes, insurance, maintenance, risk, stress, responsibility. And my family was willing to place all of that on my back so Marcus could stand in the front yard and feel chosen. Number. A dream that requires your erasure is not a blessing. It is a trap with good lighting. My parents gave my $1.5 million dream home to my brother, so I canceled the mortgage before closing. Not because I was petty, not because I wanted revenge, not because I hated Marcus's children. I canceled it because the only thing worse than losing the house was financing my own disrespect. I canceled it because a closing table should not become a crime scene for family entitlement. I canceled it because the mortgage was in my name, and so was the right to walk away. I canceled it because sometimes the strongest yes you can give yourself is a no that costs money. If you are listening and your family is pressuring you about a house, a loan, a deed, a business, a wedding, an inheritance, or anything with your name and credit attached, hear me clearly. Pause. Read everything. Call your lender. Call your lawyer. Call the title company. Do not let relatives rush you because closing is soon. Do not let anyone tell you paperwork is just a formality. Do not let parents use love to move your signature. Do not let siblings use children to occupy your future. And do not be afraid to cancel something beautiful if keeping it means handing control to people who do not respect you. There will be another house. There will be another road. There will be another morning. But there is only one you. Protect her. Today, I sit on my porch with the lemon tree growing near the steps and the studio light glowing behind the house. My mortgage payment leaves my account every month, and I smile when it does. Not because bills are fun, because this one belongs to peace. Nobody planned around it without me. Nobody measured rooms before I invited them. Nobody changed documents. Nobody turned my dream into collateral for Marcus. My name is on the deed. My name is on the mortgage. My name is on the mailbox. And my no is built into the walls. The old dream house belonged to another life. This one belongs to me.